Coffee with Chris.
Good. Hang on, let me just put it back in. I've just got my new iPhone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I can't. I tried to. I can't sign into my Facebook to Zoom you from it. So gutted, really.
That's all right. It looks good enough on here.
Yeah, but look at that, smart, isn't it?
Yeah, nice. Check you out.
I know. Well, apparently this one has got a wide-angle lens on it, which is really good for taking pictures of properties.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd treat myself.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. So I'll send everybody out my new number today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought, well, should I do tea with Gary V or should I have a couple with Chris England?
You can have a couple with me if you like.
Well, that's what I thought. I think you're far more interested. Although I have to say thank you to you guys for introducing me to him, because I'm just like constantly consuming his content.
Yeah, it's good, but it's I have and I've got a lot of value from it. And I've read 3 or 4 of his books. 3 or 4 of his books. But after a while, there's not much kind of new to learn, because you kind of accept that he is accurate in a number of things. And once you kind of agree that he's accurate, you go, cool. But then there's not much more to kind of get, from him, because I've watched a lot of his keynote speaker pieces on YouTube and some of his longer form content, and then obviously read his books and all that other stuff. But the reason we've got a prop show is because of Gary V's Crushing It. That's why we have a prop show, because I read that book and was like, we have the capacity and technology to make a TV show. And that's the reason for a lot of what we have in terms of our marketing. So but I'm working a lot with industry people now, so people like Paul Long gave me loads of advice about Facebook and stuff like that, and we've started this new video group, the estate agency video group, which is just for estate agents really, because that's kind of a core market for us at the moment. I'm hoping that this lockdown thing ends soonish, so that we can get back to work, so we can start targeting some other market. But we just have to see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's I don't think we'll be out in 3 weeks, but we'll see. But they're saying they're going to let estate agents out first, aren't they? Or like one of the first industries to go back to work.
Yeah, but if they let our clients go back to work, we'll go back to work, because the guidance says work from home, if you can, but we can't actually work from home. We make video content for clients, and that requires us being on site, just like a builder building a house or a plumber fitting a boiler. We have to be there to make the content. We're not generating any revenue really. We're making a couple of £100 a month at the minute, which is just doesn't, covers about the running costs of the business, because we've got them down and we closed the office, but we can't pay any salaries. So, and we've got no government support.
Yeah, it's hard, is it? Could you not do like virtual training? Because obviously the training that I did at the time, I was going into recruitment, and then I just couldn't. I just didn't feel it. And I spoke to Chris Watkins, and that was when he said to me, "Look, just consume Gary V content." And I just thought, do you know what? I'm just not passionate about it. For me, selling houses is my passion, and now people have got. So I was talking to Tony Ruby yesterday in the World at VXP, and I was saying now people have got, it's so easy. Back in the day, we used to have to go out with a map and a highlight pen and drive around all the streets to see what was for sale. Now you can just look on Rightmove. It's so easy, and doing the course that I did with you guys taught me so much. I said to him, again, we used to go out, I think 1,000 leaflets to one response you used to get. Now you can make a video, chuck it out there, and you haven't even left your office or your house, and it's just so easy. And I don't think a lot of agents perhaps realise how easy it is, without having kind of done that training. Because when I tried to do it before I did the training, because I thought, yeah, this is easy, I can do this, and I couldn't. I just couldn't.
Well, we've digitised our course, and it should have gone live a week ago, but Chris has been inundated with clients and requests to kind of give his opinion on like everything, and he's just basically been like an agony aunt for hundreds and hundreds of people. So we're waiting on a couple of bits of content for him to finish off basically a 50-part course.
Wow.
So, well, yeah, because we've basically segmented our his bits, our bits, the technical bits, and also the pre and post production, but then all of the editing. But we've added Adobe Rush into the editing training, so we effectively there's a step-by-step training process on 3 platforms of software now. So there's 30 parts in terms of at least 30 parts in terms of video editing training on across 3 platforms. Just choose your platform, and then there's another 20 or 25 videos in terms of what your content should be, how you produce it, facial flaps and lens putty, rule of thirds, proportionality, symmetry, audio, everything. So we're launching we have a closed Facebook group. There's just no members. A closed Facebook group, and we're going to effectively put them into units. So that'd be quite good.
I'd definitely be interested in that, because when I did the course, I had a rubbish laptop, which I've since upgraded.
Yeah.
So I could do with, a refresher of editing the videos, because I think it's like just doing videos and putting them out there is the first step, but then kind of tweaking it and making it more professional. And it was really funny. I was on a Zoom thing with my family the other night, and I was saying about it's great, all these different presenters that are working from home and they've set up their own little home studios, but actually they've got a tripod and a phone and that's it. And for what we have learned as estate agents and people that I know that have done your course, and what we produce with the same equipment is kind of on a different level. And I'm not boasting, but they're professional TV presenters and everybody's doing their best, but it is like the rule of thirds and having the angle right and tripod and everything else. It makes such a difference.
It's a world apart. But you look at, I've seen a lot of Zoom video, and it's just not good. The audio's average, the picture is poor, the lighting is terrible, the positioning of the people. If you look at us now side by side on screen, I don't know if you've got the gallery view on or whether you've got just me flashing up when I talk, but I've got a gallery view on, and we're proportional, we're central, we're well lit, we're looking at each other, not looking up or down, and instantly it's better, on all of those counts. But then you also look at how people are putting that content out. I took some time to actually design something that looks appealing. So rather than just being black all around the edges and massive like gaps here and there, I've done 2 or 3 of these, and I've crafted them so that they actually look like a produced piece of content rather than just something that's been thrown on the internet from, out of a Zoom call. And I think it's just taking time to do those things, and standing you apart, because I think, people have been watching my content, and I know that the views on a lot of other stuff is low. And I think that's maybe because of who we've got on, maybe because it's about a topic, video content, which is at the moment of significant interest to people. But I also think it's about production value. I think everything is about production value, just like you wouldn't watch people are stopping watching crap videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
They want something that's well lit, well balanced. They don't want just something that looks like it's been thrown together. And even the YouTuber, like the top YouTubers now, it has that kind of like immediate sort of feel, but it is very scripted and very well produced. And it is all brilliantly lit and everything else. So I think you are 100% right. And I think people will get value from just from doing that little course, like you did with us, last year.
It wasn't a little course. Don't underestimate it, Chris. For a lot of us, it's life-changing.
Well, I think
some of the guys that I met on that course, the content that they're putting out is fantastic, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think so.
And that was them not doing anything. They did the course, and now, you would think that they were kind of estate agents and professional content producers.
Yeah. Well, I think so. But I think it only takes a little tweak here and there to take sort of everyday content to that next level. But yeah, I don't know. I think I think people are getting a lot of value out of our group. I think people are getting a lot of value out of that and that kind of group learning experience. But also kind of, I don't know, just I think people are more in tune. We've been banging a video drum for years now, and it was starting to get a bit easier because people were starting to adopt video marketing into their offer, and a lot of our clients have seen huge gains and returns from sort of investment with us, which is great. But I think this crisis has really highlighted the need for a dialogue with your client base, and with I guess with people who may want to do business with you. I mean, we talk about Tony Ruby, and you mentioned him just before. We talk about Tony Ruby being a kind of trendsetter in our area. And he was doing really, really basic and actually pretty badly produced originally, video content. But he was doing, and I think after this, whenever we do get back to work in however long, all the the kind of post hangover stuff from this lasts, I think this medium, this way of communicating with clients will become far more vital, which should be good for us as a business, but also I think should be should be good for the industry.
I think it's changed. Obviously, what's happened hopefully will change us all for a very long time for the better. What I've taken out of this whole Corona lockdown is I was really not anti-internet, but I was an estate agent back in the day when it was all paper and pen. And I found it so exciting, all the technology that we have now for estate agents, but the value of it, because everybody's at home and we're all sat on our phones and sat on our laptops, and social media has become our only form of, human interaction, and we are social creatures. But I think it is absolutely highlighted the importance of the internet. And going back to Gary Vee, he was saying about, we are going to get to the stage where you're going to say, "Hi Alexa, order me a pizza. Hi Alexa, I need an estate agent." And I have to personally bridge the gap between not knowing a great deal about technology and being the estate agent on Alexa. And I think the only way to do that is to learn about video content, Facebook funnels. It's a huge learning curve, but it's so exciting.
Do you think EXP will help you with that?
Yeah. I mean, Adam Day's been really good, actually.
Well, I quite like Adam. I won't lie to you. He's been to the studio 2 or 3 times in various iterations of himself when he sort of first, when he sold his business and then was going to start on his own. And then when he came back, he was on his own. And then now he's with EXP. And it's been interesting to kind of see him evolve. But he's a really good agent. And I think that translates well into the EXP model, which isn't a new model, is it, really? I mean, it's a self-employed agent.
No, I mean, I did it in America, in Dubai, I was self-employed. So EXP for me feels quite natural. But
it feels very, I think it feels, from what we sort of saw of the XP world and all that stuff when Adam came to the studios just before lockdown, to be fair, before we started this sort of process of being at home, I guess it just felt more natural, and it felt quite modern, and sort of felt a little less, I guess, old hat, than some of the other, structure. And I think, it just seemed really, really innovative. Which
I don't expect the company that I work for or buy or whatever to teach me how to. I don't expect anyone to provide me with a training course and say, right, this is how you do a Facebook funnel, or this is what you need to be doing with technology. That's the entrepreneurship and the hustle of being a self-employed estate agent, and that's what I think we all thrive off of.
Yeah.
The people that are in the industry that are really prepared to take that learning curve. I don't expect it to be handed on a plate. I expect to have to go out and self-educate. And Chris talks about estate agents who would never pay to put themselves on a training course. Well, guess what now, guys? We're in a totally different world, and you probably, in the not too distant future, you are going to
do that. I had to do that as a self-employed person. I was working in a job, in a day job, and it was beholden upon me if I wanted to advance my career and start my own business, that in order to do that, I was going to have to retrain, and my day job gave me a bit of training. I worked in government, and actually at the moment would have been really handy, wouldn't it? But I worked in government, and I did get some training, and they were very, very good at keeping training going. But I wanted to push more into video, more into photography, than my job role kind of allowed. And I spent thousands on training.
Yeah.
The payoff is that we now have, or we should still have at the end of this, but a successful business as a result of that self-investment.
Yeah, well, that's it. But it's different people, isn't it? Everybody's different, and like I said with my interview.
You've gone muted. Oh, I've lost you. Hang on. Lost your sound. Oh, there you go. We're back.
I've totally lost what I was saying. You can choose to be that corporate, whatever it is, estate agent or whatever industry, or you can be, your own person. And I think that's where the industry is going. Is, in Dubai we had kind of free reign, and you could to a lot of it, you could do what you wanted and how you wanted it. And actually back then I did start doing YouTube videos, just of like clips and stuff. I was a lot better on technology then, but there wasn't the information of how to, there wasn't hashtags, and I wasn't aware of all that, which I am now. But I don't know, I think it's such an exciting time to be an estate agent and to be in this industry with social media. I'm not lazy, but I'd rather make a video than walk around the streets handing out leaflets. I don't really like reading, or writing, so I'd rather make a video than sit down and write a letter.
I'm interested to see what the industry looks like in 2-3 months' time. We've worked in the property industry for 3 years, 3.5 years now. With Chris and stuff, and we've kind of we've kind of been exposed to, and kind of we're friends with and have done business with, what we sort of regard as the kind of top people in the industry, and we've worked with some incredible self-employed and independent agents as well. So we've kind of had almost like a cross industry view. So it's going to be interesting for us, and I've been chatting to people like Chris Watkin and Simon Whale, who've been in and around this industry for 20 odd years more, and had their view. But I've also been able to chat to people like Adam Mackay, who's an independent, and Zoe Bywater, who owns a Belvoir franchise, and Martin & Co in Leamington, Sean Driscoll, who owns a franchise from a much larger group. And, it will be interesting to see where each of those kind of parts of this industry are at the end of this. And it's sort of mildly terrifying, but also exciting to see what next for business, but also for the industry as a whole, because this has been a huge shock to not just property, but the economy generally, and small businesses particularly. But then you've had Virgin and BA and all these other massive companies, struggle, and will continue to struggle because of, restrictions. So I think it's an interesting time. And I think I was speaking to John Paul from Castledean, in the run up to this and what have you. And we were chatting just business contingency planning. And I said to him, and he agreed, that if your business does survive this, then you are well placed. And there is almost a bit of a badge of honour to say my business was strong enough, and good enough and resilient enough to weather one of the biggest crises in modern history.
It's really interesting talking about like the airlines going bust, because I do think every time something like this happens, and we have to remember it's a health crisis, it's not a financial crisis. But every time something like this happens, even the climate is improved and the air quality, because there's less pollution. And I think that, again, with every other thing that happens, reintroduces us into thinking that actually, rather than go to Spain or Benidorm for our holidays, let's stay home. But that also creates, like Airbnb, it creates more of an industry. So those landlords that have already got Airbnb properties perhaps think about expanding their portfolios in certain areas. Some companies, some industries won't survive this, but some alcohol shops that still deliver are doing really well. So there are industries that will benefit from this. And I always talk about September the 11th. And I remember it so clearly. I worked for Bairstow Eves in Loughton, and obviously we found out what had happened, and we didn't have the mobile phones then, so I was listening to it on the radio. And I just remember standing in the street thinking, my God, that's it, my job's finished. What am I going to do? Because I can only do estate agency. Like, this is just, this is so tragic. But I'm going to have to, I've still got a mortgage to pay. I'm going to have to think here, because people's mentality changed, and people thought, do you know what? Life's too short. Sod it. Let's go and buy a bigger house, or let's live in a better area, or let's not rent. Let's buy. And I think that is very much a British mentality, and I honestly think that will happen again with this, because this is a health crisis. It's not a financial crisis. And I think the third and the fourth quarter of this year, you'll see a lot of really good estate agents do some really great things.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thanks for having coffee with Chris. I'm gonna.
Thanks.
I'm gonna
Cath
go.
Kids, and they've just gone bust, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
6 gutted.
And Laura Ashley.
Oh.
Never mind.
That's it.